Our audience has picked up on some keywords that we've all been using the last 15 or 20 minutes, including words that are familiar to us, like brand, but their correlation to the job search for many who haven't done it before is sort of mysterious. So, Marcia, let's turn to you. I want to stop for a moment and talk about personal branding a bit and things that we deliver to our ExecuNet audience that frankly they may not have heard before. So could you just break down for us a bit when we talk about things like our selling proposition and branding, and Jay touched on those beautifully earlier, but I'd like to hear you replay for us when we are talking about job search, and in that context, how do we think about branding and selling proposition and collateral coming together to help us achieve a result? Could you just put that out there for us?
Sure. Well, we talked about the job search process is like sales and marketing.
Mhm.
So you want to make sure all of your collateral has a theme. So if you're an executive, what kind of executive are you? What have you accomplished? What's your brand? If I hire you, how do I know if I'm going to get mayonnaise or ketchup? So your brand is it's where you're strong. For instance, I'm a CEO who has led three organizations to great profitability or whatever. But you be able to tell that in two or three sentences. It's like, and if you can't do that, you're going to lose your audience. It's like going to a cocktail party and you're asking someone, "How are you?" and they think it's a real question. You want to be able to talk about who you are in two or three sentences. That's your brand. Most people, you ask them, because I do a lot of coaching, and I'll say, "Tell me 5 key things that you're best in class." Well, it takes us about 15 minutes to get around to those 5 key things, and I keep having to do a lot of clarifying, coaching. What you should know going into the job market, the top 5 things that you're world class. And then you don't only tell me those top 5 things, you give me evidence, because anybody can talk about words. So what we want to talk about and what's going to make you strong in your brand is, this is who I am and this is the evidence of what I've done. And then in your LinkedIn profile, you also want to, in the summary, let people know a little bit about who you are as a person. For instance, I'm working with one person, and he didn't know how to describe really what he did as a leader. But I found out that he leads a competitive mountain biking team, and they win all kinds of trophies. So I said to him, I said, "Francois, what do you do in competitive mountain biking that makes you a great leader at the job?" Well, he started talking to me just excitedly. You want to put something like that in your LinkedIn profile, because competitive mountain biking, a leader, a CEO. Now I'm going to read your profile. So I've looked at your resume. I see 2 or 3 lines of who you are as a brand, as a CEO or a leader. Then I see 4 or 5 things that you're best in class. And then I read your LinkedIn profile, and oh my goodness, he's a competitive mountain biker, and this is what he's learned about leadership in competitive mountain biking. I am going to remember that candidate, because he or she, they've made themselves unique.
Mhm.
So you want all your collateral to be integrated and aligned, but you don't want it all to tell the exact same story.
That's great. Don, anything to add to what Marcia said? That was awesome. Thank you.
I've been trying to add to what Marcia has been saying for years, and I'm
That's
usually
great.
at a loss for words. Um, One other thing I would suggest, I want to go half step back to the resume for a moment.
Sure.
When you're talking about your experience, here's what we recommend in terms of the format. Tell us who the company is you work for, how long you were there, what your title is. Now, here's the part that most people don't do. Tell the reader why you were hired. A hiring decision is normally a problem-solving decision. There's an opportunity, there's a need. They don't just go out and hire people because they want to increase overhead. So why were you brought on board? Now I know sort of the challenge you were brought on to address. Then tell me how you addressed it. That's your job description. I did the following things to address the issue that got me hired in the first place. And then the bullets are, here's what I accomplished. Here are the measurable things I did, the business impact I had, the legacy I left, however you want to phrase it. But wherever possible, make sure it includes an actual metric. That's the experience section, and that's the way we advise you to design it.